Mike Shehan from SpotXchange. Yeah. I'm curious, I mean, we've been having this discussion around exchange versus RTB versus programmatic, and across that spectrum, people are creating very different kinds of relationships, right? Mm-hmm. There's the kind of open, multiple bidder, bid-based exchange kind of trade, and then there's this new hot term, private marketplace. Nobody seems to know what it really means, right. And I'm just curious, from the perspective of really the technology platform that enables a marketplace, what does that mean?
That's a great question. I don't even like, it's like we talk about all these terms and I don't like most of them, but I don't have a better word to replace them, right? And you got to go with the word that's being used, right? So programmatic, right? Programmatic, assumes that it's just machines talking to each other and people are out of the equation. Well, people are, required more than ever in a programmatic fashion, whether it be analysts or salespeople, et cetera. Private marketplace. Private marketplace insinuates that, or at least, from what we hear is, SpotXchange runs a marketplace. It's an auction-based environment. We're going to run our own. Okay, why would we run our own exchange? And I think we need to step back and really, I think, redefine it. And again, we'll just use the term private marketplace, but again, leveraging the term programmatic, meaning we're automating, everything within the transaction from, even the RFP process to the, to the delivery and trafficking and the targeting and the invoicing and the reporting. All of that's synchronized. And therefore it's automated. So if you take that programmatic concept and apply it to private marketplaces, the additional thing is what you're doing is just connecting buyers and sellers together. Really, that's it. And the way we define private marketplace is it's an invite-only marketplace where, the publisher really maintains the controls that they have in a normal futures market via a guaranteed IO or whatever. But it's an invite-only marketplace where they can control who accesses the supply under what terms. And again, it may be under a futures market. That's okay. And it may be an exchange for unsold inventory. And at least that's how we define it. The way Joanna's looking at me right now, I'm thinking that I just didn't define it correctly.
Well, Mike, I would add.
You did a nice dance there, though, Mike. That was a good dance.
Mike, I think you hit on the key point, which is it's about control. Right, so on the supply side, it's obviously about publishers maintaining control of their relationships and maintaining control of their inventory. On the buy side, they're advertiser private marketplaces, right? For media agencies, some could say that their strongest asset are their trading relationships, right? And each has their own strategies, their own approach to how they buy media, and they want to be able to control that. And to be able to control that in a programmatic fashion, you need to have private marketplaces and private connections set up so they can control those trading relationships and ensure that others aren't benefiting from their trading relationships.
Yeah, here's the problem that I have with that is that it implies that there isn't control in exchange-based buying. It seems to me that it's maybe less about control and more about clout, right? It's really more about, Tom, I totally get your point, but let's be clear, it's more about WPP is the biggest buyer of media in the world, right?
And that's what I'm saying, and that matters, right?
Yeah.
Clients work with Group M, or they work with publicists, they work with large agencies because they have that clout, right? Yep. And they can bring that to the market. So that's critical, and that's not going to change, right? So their ability to be able to create private marketplaces and to be able to bring programmatic buying that brings additional efficiencies, right, just makes that better.
Mm-hmm. And I think from the supply side, it is about clout as well, right?
Sure.
So we just hired someone from Condé Nast who ran their private marketplace to operate our private marketplace division. And she told a story how they set up their private marketplace using AdMeld. They set it up and they started getting buyers, right? But they hadn't really talked to anyone. It was just, in the public marketplace. Okay. And they'd set their price controls, et cetera. But they found out that they had to go out. They had to go to the buyers and say, well, how are you viewing this through your interface? Let us explain the value proposition of our traffic. And they had to sell them still. And therefore, by doing so, they were able to, increase yield, of course, increase coverage, et cetera.
Okay, so realistically, though, of the the programmatic inventory that's flowing through SpotX, what percentage would you say is done through private deals? Because it feels still like something we talk about, but it's small.
It's small. It is small. Although again, it depends on how you define it. I know, because we have very, very simple private marketplaces where we've set up with premium publishers who say, listen, these are the 10 buyers that can access it. Although we have thousands of buyers, these are the 10. So, you know, there's very simple versions of it, and I don't think we're anywhere close, and I'm not saying SpotXchange, but the industry, of being where private marketplaces are being enacted in scale and to its full potential. But, I mean, the thing I keep coming back to is, you know, if you look at the beginning of, you know, video advertising and when we launched, you know, and a comment I made yesterday about how, you know, the video ad ecosystem there's only a few vendors that are getting to buy, right? And so, but it's because it's so hard for the buyers to sign IOs and transact with so many publishers. So our jobs are to make it simpler and automate it so that, you know, the agency trading desk, the agencies can do what they're best.